Okay, so thanks again for stopping by the DJ Thomas White channel and checking out my OP-1 videos. I have been getting more questions about how do you bounce tracks and how do you bounce things in the OP-1 than anything else. So I figured I would try to put together a video to the best of my knowledge on how at least this works for me, and hopefully other users out there will post up what's working for them, because that's kind of how our community is working right now. But okay, so on with the video. How do you bounce things with the OP-1? So in one of my other videos you'll hear this as a track that's demoed. Okay, basic enough. So how do I bounce that? This track that you're hearing right now has all four tracks, as you can see, being used. Well, let's just say I would want to break that down so that I could start adding some more stuff here. I mean, of course I could overdub over the top of what's here, but that's only going to get me so far, because your control, the more you overdub multiple things to one track, you can't remove certain things from that track. For example, this beat track, if I solo it and play it, is beats bassline, and I can't separate the two because it's here as a bounce track from a previous production. If I shift that out and mute it, it's gone, all the beats, all the bassline, because they are merged together. So you are going to have to get a little bit creative in how you use any bouncing technique inside this device. But in my remixing videos, you'll see that I'm using the OP-1 not as an all-in-one device. I'm using it as a launching pad for a track. So using it as a launching pad, your primary goal should be to try and get yourself the components together that when you do export or dump things into a DAW, digital audio workstation, or MPC, or whatever your preference is, that you have things set up in a way that makes sense for you. So how do we bounce? Here's one way. We can take shift and lift this section, and once it disappears, it's gone. Now I have now lifted that into memory. What that means is it's gone from the tape right now. So before I go and bounce it to the sampler, I need to drop it right back where it came from. So it's now dropped. It's back. You can hear nothing has changed there. Okay, so I'm going to go to the sampler, to the synth, and you can see there's different synth engines here. I've got the sampler engine open, and all I have to do now that I'm here in the sampler engine is hit drop. So that particular sample is dropped. Caveat being that only 12 seconds of that particular sample, 6 seconds fits here in the synth sampler, 12 seconds fits in the drum sampler. And you can go and paste this right into the to the drum as well. Let me pick a kit. With all the predefined choppings, and as you can see, that bar, or that measure of 4 bars, doesn't take up the whole 12 seconds. It just takes up a portion of it, as evident on the display there. So you can get about 6 bars at about 124 beats a minute, I guess. I mean, don't hold me accountable on that one, but you can see that going from tape and hitting shift and lift, you can drop anything into either of those two samplers to start negotiating and moving your pieces around and reworking them, remixing them, whatever makes sense to you. So let's go back to the synth sampler, and you'll notice that this is chromatic. So it does have an envelope, some release on the envelope. I'll take that off. And you might find use in being able to pitch things up and down like that, but it also, with a loop-based thing like this, changes the tempo. Okay, so let's go back to the tape. Let's mute out the beat, and we'll mute out the bass line. So we'll just keep the vocal in there. I don't know why. Maybe we'll take out the track 2 vocal. So we just have my multi-tracked, overdubbed, craptacular vocal there, but this is going to be useful for us because this will play more into the chromatic nature of the destination in the synth sampler. So we're going to lift this out, and we're going to lift all the tracks, but most of them are muted, so it should only lift track 3. And again, don't forget to paste it where you got it from, or you'll be in bad shape later on. Go to the synth sampler, we're going to paste this in, or drop it in, excuse me. I didn't know that. It's actually lifting and pasting all of the tracks, even if they are muted in the tape. So you can see I've got track 1 muted, track 2 muted, track 3 is active, and track 4 is muted. So in order to do this in the way that I meant to do it, which is just to take that one vocal and drop it in the synth sampler, we're just going to go to track 3 and select track 3 where the vocal's at. Just to prove this to you, we can unmute those other tracks, 1, 2, and 4. So now they're all unmuted. Go back to track 3. We're going to lift track 3 out. And again, we're going to drop track 3 right back where it came from. So this is intact. Go back to synth sampler and now drop this in here. Now we have just the vocal. How's that sound? You like to think about bounce and stuff that way? Certainly has helped me, because now I've got the ability to take my one overdubbed vocal track and make chromatic chords out of it. Anyways, kind of neat. You want to start adding effects to it, it gets even more ridiculous. But we'll save that for another time. So anyways, that is just one way to bounce. You can also take your particular track. So we'll do this. We'll start this playing. Go to the synth sampler. We're going to select, this is microphone input. We'll move this over to the ear icon, which will record from the audio output. So I'm going to do this as it stands, show you how it sounds, and then show you what you need to do to typically rectify the results I've been getting. And what I mean by that is, when you sample from something at full volume like this, it's kind of crunchy. We'll see if that happens. If not, I apologize, TE, but for the most part you need to go to your mixer screen, drop the levels of everything, and then resample it so that your levels are okay once you get it into the synth sampler without any distortion. We'll see what's going on. So let's play this, and we're going to go to the synth sampler, make sure our correct ear input is selected, and we'll hold down middle C to sample this. You can see it's recording. Record OK. So we'll stop that, and oh, look at that wave shape. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that's going to be pretty clipped out. Well, that sounds pretty awful, but here's the good news. When you drop the levels of everything, so let's go down to half of what we've got here. So the 36 or so, whatever, 50. And this may or may not do it, but let's give this a shot, because clearly we cannot use the clipped out version. Maybe you can, but I would rather clip it on purpose later rather than clip it on accident, because with the OP-1, if I lose this, it's going to be a heck of a time to get it back. This is really a save now to prepare for later, as opposed to later realize you need to go back and maybe not have it on tape anymore type of a situation. So let's go back to playing this loop. Back to tape. Okay. Go back to this synth sampler. Make sure the microphone, or excuse me, the ear is selected, and hit record. Sample okay. Well, you can see it's still pretty clipped out up here. Kind of disappointing. I might have a problem with the drive compressor being on. We'll check that in just a second here. Yeah, that's pretty clipped out. So let's do that. Let's go back to the tape. Select that drive compressor. We're going to turn the drive all the way down. You can hear the difference in volume already. So we'll play this and go back to the synth sampler and try it again now with the drive off. Record okay. Well, you can see the levels are a lot better now, and that is something where you on your end, you're going to need a little bit of negotiation. Maybe your track is low, maybe the drive control in your example is going to help you get that to the volume you need it to be. But the basics have been shown. You can sample from your loop that's playing through the microphone input, or the ear input here at the microphone icon. Put that back to microphone here. Hello. Turn that off. So you can do that. You can also lift and drop into your samplers, whether they're drum or synth. So that's really the best way to bounce. For those of you that were asking the question, how do you bounce tracks? You may have been wanting to know how to take what's on track 1 and paste it to track 2, or what's on track 3 and paste it to track 4, or any combination of those track-to-track movements. Really the only way to do that is to solo the track that you're looking at. So like you can take track 1, solo it, so you can take track 1, mute all of the rest of the tracks, play track 1, let's select the track you'd like it to go to, hold down your icon, change your input to the audio output, go back to tape, be on track 2, and record that on track 2 or track 3 or track 4, wherever you want track 1 to end up. Once you're done with that, I'm not going to do that because this is an active project, I don't want to delete it, but once you do that, you can then go to track 1 and lift it out to delete the piece that was there. You've then shifted the track to track 2 in this example, and you can move on from there. You can't take tracks and just shift them up and down. It's just not how it works. But you can take combinations of tracks through the mute settings and play them out and record them by recording them from the audio output. Or again, you can pull single pieces and drop them into the sampler. I hope that helps you guys who are looking for an answer as to how to balance tracks. It's really creatively up to you. Those are the 2 ways I know how to do it. Have about other ways to do it, heck, I'm hoping to see your video and learn how to do it. In the meantime, take the information, run with it, and have fun with the OP-1. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for checking out another one of my OP-1 videos.